So welcome back. You know what? Personally, I look at life sometimes when it comes to relationships, the way I look at a 2K game. Now, do you want to start your own career, build your own player with all your own colors, all your own stats? Or do you want to just pick up and start playing on some another man's saved game? I'd rather just start my own. For one thing, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. A lot of us, if you grew up in the 90s, early 2000s, we all had a stepdad. We've all seen the fate of the stepdad. He's not your real father. He was just a guy for your mother. You don't respect him. And then eventually your real dad comes and beats him up. I know my dad did. So when I'm looking at what Deontay Wilder is going through, he should have known better, especially growing up in America and being black. He definitely knew how this was going to play out and why he thought he was going to get better results than everyone else. It doesn't make any sense. That's the clinical definition of being insane. Even if it's somebody else, you're doing the same thing as them, expecting a different result. In my opinion, Deontay Wilder is just shallow. And that's what that's an affliction a lot of us men suffer from. And he had to learn the hard way. So let's go ahead and take a listen to his story.
I took the role of being your son father, not just a daddy, but a father.
Right.
I went in so hard, bro. I went in so hard to the point where I put them on my wheel. I had a meeting with my kids. I said, "How about?"
He didn't go hard because he's a great guy. He went hard because the woman is beautiful. Again, he's shallow. And you know what? Yeah, he's a pro boxer. He has money now. But for a majority of his life, women like this would not give him the time of day. Definitely wouldn't give him sex. So he's new money and he's new to women. And he thought that, well, I can outdo her ex. And that's where we have to stop doing this, fellas. As a man, you have to stop trying to compare yourself to her ex and trying to prove that you can be better than her ex. You will never be able to prove that. For one thing, he was there before you. And you know what they say, best dressed first in line. He wins. Also, he gets to laugh at you when he sees you with his ex. He gets to laugh at you. You're more so a joke. And this is the kind of joke is funny. He can always say, I used to skeet up Deontay's current fiance. I used to skeet her down. She used to do all these disgusting things to me. And he could just make little chuckles and giggle. You're never going to live that down. No matter how much money you spend on her, somebody else used her as a rag, a bucket. So you're trying to come in and prove that you're better than that. And let me tell you, everybody sees through it. She knows you're only with her because of her looks. You're not with her because she's just a great woman who was riding for you and supported you when you were poor. That you left that woman. Yeah, you treated her like shit and you abandoned her first chance you got. And you went after the good-looking woman. And you think her son is going to be dumb? Her son sees through you too. Did her son, let me ask you this, Deontay. Did her son ever come to you personally and say, can we sit down? And yeah, excuse me, do you mind if I call you Deontay? And he's like, you're like, yeah, you can call me Deontay. And he's like, listen, I want to ask you, will you adopt me? Will you be my dad? Unless her son came to you like that, you were forcing yourself into that situation where you didn't belong. You're trying to put a circle inside of a square. It's not going to work. Overdoing it, trying to outshine his real father, it's never going to happen. And now you're pretending like, oh, they were just ungrateful. Yeah, they weren't ungrateful. You got what you paid for. Mom is for rent. The son knows that. Everybody knows that. You knew that. That's why you led with your money and put them on a policy that they didn't ask you to be on. He didn't ask you to be his dad. He didn't ask you to put him on your will. He didn't ask you to beg his mom for some good vagina. Bro, you did all that because you wanted to, because you're shallow. The downfall of most men is going to be a woman. That's unfortunate. What do you think happened to Charlie? That's how they put a woman around you that someone else can control, a woman that's so good looking you can't say no. And instead of you questioning her, like, how did I get so lucky? Why are you here? You're thinking to yourself, maybe God sent her. And then you end up getting scammed and you lose a lot of your money.
How y'all feel if I scoot y'all over? I scoot over a little slide and let somebody else get a little bit of it. You know, my kids are amazing. They're my best friend. And they was down with it. So I moved a little space over and added her son in. I'm like, you ain't even my...
That's fucking crazy. So you mean her vagina was so good? I'm talking mean. Her vagina was so mean that you put you put another man's son in your will next to your own biological kids? If I was your child, I would never fucking respect the fact that my father's a simp. I tolerate him because he's a rich dad. He's going to give me money. But in the back of my head, I'm like, this simp son of a bitch is going to abandon us again for the next pretty face and her kids. He's going to always lead with his money and try to impress them by basically cutting us short every time. We're his biological kids. And you're going to come to us and ask us, do you mind if I just put in a little, do you mind if I split up your inheritance with some fucking random woman that I'm screwing's child who's a son of another man? And you're going to come here and have a meeting with us as your biological children, your only ones, and you're going to ask us for permission to split up our inheritance with another man's fucking seed. Bro, are you out of your mind? And then your kids are so cool because they're like, our dad's an idiot with CTE. He needs help. So the best thing to do is just to say, okay, there's no point in getting an attitude or whatever. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. It's kind of spilled milk. He says he's a simp. His own kids know he's a simp. And they know there's going to be another woman and another woman. He's going to keep asking and asking. And I'll be honest. Can you just willy-nilly take somebody's name off of a will and just put another person's name on there just whenever you get mad at them? Or do they have some action? Because obviously he's fully vaccinated, which is rule number one. You're not allowed to work out. He works out. He's already dark-skinned. He's black, high testosterone. So, and I know he's vaccinated because he was traveling internationally during the lockdown. So he's already having heart issues. He's already going to be in trouble health-wise anyway. But knowing that he has a multi-million-dollar insurance payout, I bet his kids are like, it's better than nothing. But to ask them to include another woman's son is beyond insane. I've heard some pathetic fucking things that people have done in their lives for a vagina. I too have done a few things that were questionable. Yeah, I remember I wanted a girl so bad. She was so beautiful. We literally drove to Vegas and I was pretending I wanted to marry her so we can have sex after marriage. I was literally pretending I was going to get married with her at one of those little chapels and everything. That's how bad I wanted her. I was fronting. I was lying so bad. And you know what's crazy? The worst part is she was going to force me to marry her before we would sleep together. And she wasn't a virgin or anything. She already had a kid too, but she used to date this guy that I didn't get along with. And, you know, if me and you fall out, your girl's fair game. So I don't care if it's your ex, your baby mama, whatever. If me and her bump into each other, it's up. So I had to pull out all the stops, gondola rides, helicopter rides, Vegas to the chapel. And then I got lucky. There were too many other people getting married in front of us. So we had to reschedule for the morning. And I was like, well, let's just go to the room, take a nap and come back. We get to the room. Everything's hot and bothered. I end up winning, right? And I slid out. I paid for the room and everything. And I made up a fake emergency. And I literally slid back to LA. Now, that's nowhere near as bad as putting another man's son on my will when I already have kids. I can see if my testicles were blown off in Nam and these other kids are kind of like my ceremonial children, I put them on the will. Okay, cool. But you have working testes and you have living children and you're putting another man's son on your will because his mom is so much better looking than all of your other ex-girlfriends. It's insane. And even in this picture here, I can tell she looks, yeah. She got that on her. I'm afraid of her. I'm more afraid of her than him.
My son, for real.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's to take a toll.
I put her in my wheel as well too. Yeah.
You seem kind of young and you're in shape. He knows something we don't know. That's why I said I know he's fully vaccinated. He knows that he's in trouble. He knows there's an issue coming up with him, because when was the last time you heard in person in a podcast interview mention their will or mention anything about their own mortality more than twice in less than 5 minutes? Actually, more than twice in less than 3 minutes. I mean, why are you thinking about why are you bringing up your will? Why are you mentioning it again? There's something definitely going on, and he's not allowed to talk about it, but he knows. We all know. You see what just happened to Mickey Lee. They're all going to suffer the same fate, and we warned them all, but they don't listen,
That's my girlfriend. You ain't even my wife.
I hope that still ain't dead, man.
Wait a minute. He did this for his girlfriend. Okay, if you like her enough to put on your will, why don't you like her enough to marry her? If it's real, before you put her on the will, why? What I think is he was just finessing her to get to her, just to keep her. Finessing her, playing her. People think what I did was bad, how I snuck out of Vegas because I was pretending I was going to marry her. That's child's play to the guy who's dangling the will in your face, you and your son. At least I didn't take her son to Disneyland or nothing. I have my limits, okay? I'm not that deaf. I'm not doing all that, but Jesus.
Man, I hope that's delayed. One time the son said, "You ain't my daddy." Now that's one thing you don't say to a man that ain't your daddy. Don't remind him that you ain't his daddy. You ain't.
What the fuck? Why? Okay. You're already acting like you think you're his dad. And he can tell you're basically doing all this to try to outdo his dad. You're trying to pretend to his mother that you're better than her ex. Oh, look at me. I got this. I got that. But the ex still hit raw, shot up her club, even produced a child. There's no acid wash that can remove that. The kid is there. You're not all the money in the world, all the, virtual signaling with wills and blah, blah, blah. None of that's going to matter. People see through it. It's not genuine. For one thing, the son and the mother are both like, you don't really like us. You just like how I look. They know it's not based on anything real. It's all just shallow bullshit from a shallow man. So of course he's going to remind you, you're not my dad. I don't even have to kiss your ass because you're such a weak simp. You're going to still stay with my mom. So because she's better looking than any of the other women you could pull. And because of that, I'm going to still benefit indirectly anyway. So I don't got to be your fucking friend. You're not my dad. There's nothing you should be able to say to me or do to me. And my dad still hit. My dad hit those. He smacked. And you're over here loving her up and want to be all in my mom's face because you're a simp. Where's your ex-wife? Where's your kids' mothers? Why couldn't she get spoiled? Oh, because if you want to be treated like a princess, you got to look like one. And she looked like the jester because that's the only kind of woman he could pull. Until now, he has fame and money. Now he can get a woman that looks like this, but they're never going to respect him because they know you're only with them because of their looks. Women are not, bro, you're in love. She's in business.
You know what I'm saying?
I know that, but you ain't got
it. I done fed you, took you on all these trips.
You took my mom on all these trips. You didn't take me no fucking where. Me and you didn't go nowhere together, buddy. I'm my mom's plus one. So I'm going anywhere she's going. These trips you benefited from also. I was there because the trip wasn't worthwhile without my pretty mom with you. So what do you want me to say? Like, it's not like you were specifically getting to know me or doing anything for me. You're doing all this because you wanted access to my mother. And I'm seeing through it. That's how these kids are not that dumb. They might be gay, but they're not dumb.
You a beautiful life.
Yeah.
I ain't your daddy. I'm put you on my wheel. Bro,
So basically, he's explaining how he tried to buy love and he couldn't afford it. So he could never successfully purchase the love. He doesn't have the budget to buy their love because the mother is higher value than his threshold for how much he could spend on love. He didn't have it. His mother commands a higher amount than he could afford. And the son is her agent. And the son informed him that she would probably be accepting a better offer if he can't get his funds together. Kind of like he's purchasing a property. You know, you're going to need another investor or a co-signer because he could not afford her love. And don't get me wrong, I can see why. Like, I know girls that look like her that could wear a dress like that after having one kid. Yeah, they're dangerous. And he walked right into a trap. But again, he's new to women and he's new to money. A friend of mine was like his promoter, his manager back in LA. So I met him once. And again, it's new money. He's new to women.
He did that, bro. I ran to my lawyer then to try to get that, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. Seriously. Right.
That's the third mention of mortality. He's having some issues with his Cardi. He's having heart issues, it sounds like. He brought up having a heart attack. He talked about his will on 2 separate occasions. Usually men, we want to stay away from conversations about death, especially our own death. We don't like to talk about other people's pending death. I mean, it's because you kind of, in a way, we see that as speaking into existence. You know, you think if I bring it up, it's going to happen to me. Kind of like, especially if you're black. You see what happened to Biggie. He makes an album called Ready to Die. And it's like, I hope you were ready to die because you motherfucker, you're dead. As soon as the album came out. And then Tupac, as soon as his album about death comes out, he dies. You know, so, you know, it just shows you words are powerful. So is the word simp. You might think a woman likes a nice guy that gives her money and all that, but you're still going to be seen as a simp. You're a sugar daddy. You're a trick. Women like your money. They don't like you because they don't respect you. She knows that if another pretty picture comes along, she don't have to do any work for you. She doesn't have to earn anything. You're going to just give her everything that belongs to her just because she's a newer, younger, pretty face. Women also have the internet. They see what men, just like we see what women are doing. Women are seeing what men are doing too. They're jaded, but they're also being strategic. Again, you're in love. She's in business. So you got to know your place. You know, you're not his dad. And I'm glad he checked you on that. You couldn't afford his mom's love. So now you're taking him off the lease or off the will or whatever. But mom can pull another you before you can pull another her. Just because, you know, when you're in his position, you're limited to a certain pool of women anyway. You can't just go out and meet regular women. She's not going to have time for you. She's not going to be able to move on your schedule. She's not going to be able to travel with you and all the stuff you're going to really require from a serious relationship. So, you know, it's just trying to buy a woman's child's love is it's a fool's errand. You're just not going to be able to do it. These kids are a lot smarter now. They're a lot more clever and they understand the dynamic. In a way, he's his mom's manager. He's her pimp and you're her simp. And he's demanding a higher price. You could afford my mom. You couldn't afford my love. So what that means is that we're going to be gone. You're back to square one, trying to figure out who's going to take care of you because you think that you're sick or going through something. I really do hope this video ages well because I don't want to see nothing happen to him. But he keeps talking about his mortality, which is not a good sign. Women see through everything, anything. And if he's doing this around her, she's looking at him like, why are you so fucking desperate? It stinks. It's a stench on a man, desperation. And I understand why women don't appreciate it or like it. I don't like desperate women, so can't be mad at that. So listen, fellas, if you please put down another man's save game, go buy a game system, buy your own game, build your own career. It's not the juice isn't worth the squeeze. It's just you're not going to get the results you're hoping for. Your parents, your stepdad didn't get the results he hoped for from you. So why would you do any better? Never be anybody's stepdad. That's the worst fucking decision you can make. Anyway, I'll be back on with another story in about 20 minutes. Like and subscribe, share the page, push me into the algorithm. I do appreciate all your support. And remember, please, America first and America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com.